All right, let's jump right into something that can, well, quietly tear your home apart faster than just about anything else. We're talking about water damage. And listen, this isn't always about those big, dramatic floods you see on the news. No, it's usually a hidden threat, spreading silently behind your walls and under your floors. And the whole time, a clock is ticking.
So let's start with a really important question. Say a pipe bursts, or maybe your dishwasher starts leaking everywhere. How much time do you actually have before that little water problem turns into a complete, full-blown disaster? You think you've got a week, maybe a few days? Believe it or not, the answer is just 24 to 48 hours. That's it. That is the entire critical window before all that moisture kicks off the one thing every homeowner absolutely dreads: mold. After just 2 days, you're not just cleaning up water anymore. You're literally fighting a biological invasion inside your own house.
Okay, so where does this threat even come from? I know it's easy to immediately picture a giant hurricane or a massive flood, but the reality? It's often way more, well, normal. Water damage can come from a ton of different places. Some you can see coming, and others you'd probably never even think of. And when you actually look at the most common culprits, it's kind of shocking how ordinary they are. I mean, these are just the everyday risks we all have in our homes. You know, a washing machine hose gives out, a pipe freezes and cracks during a cold snap, or that slow roof leak you've been meaning to fix finally works its way inside. Heck, even a musty old crawl space can be silently rotting the bones of your house over time. Now, if you happen to live anywhere near the coast, oh man, the deck is seriously stacked against you. You've got this combination of humid air, corrosive salt eating away at everything, and high groundwater tables. It basically means your property is under constant attack from moisture. It never really gets a chance to fully dry out, and that just puts every single one of those risks we just talked about into overdrive. All right, so the leak starts. You see a puddle on the floor. But that puddle, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real problem is the crazy chain reaction that happens next. In the industry, they call it secondary damage, and that is how one little puddle turns into thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars in structural repairs.
Yeah, this quote really nails it. Water does not wait around. It's incredibly sneaky. It travels through porous stuff like drywall and your wood subfloors at an incredible speed, just wicking its way into every single hidden nook and cranny of your house. The damage you can't see is often way worse than the damage you can.
This timeline here shows you exactly how fast things go from bad to worse. So, step 1, that's the obvious stuff you see right away, right? Ruined carpets, soaked furniture. But then, within just 1 day, you're already at step 2. That's when your home's building materials start absorbing all that water, and they swell up, they fall apart, your drywall turns to mush, your beautiful wood floors start to warp and buckle, and then comes step 3, right on schedule at that 48-hour mark. Mold starts to form, and the actual structure of your home begins to rot away.
Okay, I know. That's a lot of bad news. But here's the good news. There is a highly effective, science-based playbook for stopping this whole destructive process dead in its tracks. It's a methodical protocol that the pros use to fight back against that ticking clock.
And it all kicks off with one thing: speed. The most critical moves all happen within that very first hour. The pros show up and immediately start using high-tech tools like thermal cameras to hunt down every single pocket of hidden moisture. Then, they bring in these massive truck-mounted extraction systems to pull out hundreds of gallons of water fast. And it's only after all that standing water is gone that the real multi-day structural drying process can even begin, before they get to the final repairs.
And that drying phase, now that's where the real science comes into play. We're not talking about just pointing a couple of fans at a wet spot and, hoping for the best. No way. This is a precise, data-driven process. Because proper drying isn't just about cleaning up a mess, it's a highly technical skill.
So this whole industry is actually guided by one main organization. It's called the IICRC. Think of them as the ones who literally write the rule book. They set the national standards for how to do this work the right way. And here's why that matters to you. Their standards are exactly what your insurance company is looking for when they review your claim. You see, professionals don't guess if something is dry. They measure it. They determine its precise moisture content. They use these special calibrated meters to get a specific percentage of how much water is trapped inside a piece of wood or a section of drywall. It's what turns an opinion like, "Yeah, that feels dry," into a verifiable, hard fact.
And they're not just taking these measurements for fun. They are working toward a very specific goal called the dry standard. And different materials have different targets. For example, wood framing has to get below 15% moisture. Drywall needs to be under 12%. The job is simply not finished until those numbers are hit. And just as importantly, documented.
Here's another super important scientific idea you need to know. Not all water is created equal. It's actually classified into 3 categories. You've got Category 1, which is clean water, say from a burst water pipe. Then there's Category 2, or gray water, which is a bit contaminated. Think of an overflowing dishwasher. And finally, there's Category 3, black water. This is the bad stuff. Sewage, floodwater, it's grossly contaminated and a serious health hazard. And which category you're dealing with dictates everything, from the safety gear to the entire cleanup process.
So with all this science and all these standards, it begs the obvious question, right? Why can't I just go rent some fans and do this myself? Well, let me tell you, the difference between a DIY job and what the pros do, it's absolutely staggering. Let's break down why.
Look, a DIY approach almost always misses that hidden moisture that's wicked its way deep inside the walls. And that, my friends, leads directly to mold and rot a few months down the road. But honestly, the biggest difference maker is the documentation. Professionals build a meticulous case file for your insurance company, while a DIY attempt, it leaves you with basically zero proof, which can make getting your claim approved an absolute nightmare.
And this is the kind of stuff we're talking about when we say documentation. Your insurance adjuster is going to want to see everything. They need photos of the damage before anyone touched anything. They need to see daily moisture logs that prove the drawing process actually worked. They need detailed lists of all the equipment that was used. And they need that final verification that the dry standard was officially met. Without that paper trail, you are facing a massive uphill battle to get your claim paid in full. Okay, so let's boil all of this down to the most important things to remember. Number 1, time is everything. That 24 to 48-hour window is very, very real. Number 2, proper drying is a science. It's all about standards and data, not just guesswork. 3, not all water is the same. That contamination category is a huge deal. And finally, number 4, documentation is absolutely king. It is critical for getting your insurance claim approved.
So, after all of this, what's the real bottom line here? We've seen just how fast water can cause permanent damage, and we've seen the complex science it takes to actually fix the problem the right way. Your property's single biggest threat is water. So the only question left is, are you ready for it?